Livestock judging, I think that's kind of a broad term. There's a lot of intricacy, I'm sure. Tell me about the program and its originations, though, before we get into that.
So livestock judging has really been around for quite some time. Most people are probably more familiar with it through county or state fairs and
Yeah.
things like that, where they know kids or people who are involved in the livestock industry and their ability to go out and then rely on someone to evaluate the livestock in their operation. And then some people are more familiar with it from the actual judging team standpoint. And so they maybe know someone who has competed on a high school team or a collegiate team. And oftentimes that's where our judges at those county or state shows come from, is someone who has a background in livestock judging. And that may mean that they may specify in a certain species. What we're talking about here in terms of judging livestock, students or team members are going to evaluate 4 different species.
Okay.
They're going to evaluate cattle, sheep, hogs, and goats.
Okay, all right.
So that's kind of what we're talking about here.
I want to get back into that in just a moment, but what's the genesis of this program? How did it start?
So really, the program here at North Central is getting started because we saw a need to try to keep students here in Missouri. We have a lot of students who come from a livestock background in this area, and that's really where their passion is, and they maybe have competed on a high school team, but up until this point, there really wasn't anywhere for them to go unless they wanted to leave the state of Missouri. And so, unfortunately, we've seen a lot of really talented kids here at the local level who end up going out of state, and they may go to Kansas or Oklahoma. Some choose to go to Illinois. Really, any state surrounding us has opportunity for students to further their talent. And up until this point, Missouri just hasn't had that opportunity.
At the junior college
At
level.
the junior college
Right.
level, yes. And so we want to really make sure that students from this area or even from surrounding states in time have that opportunity to come here if they wish to further their passion and pursue livestock evaluation, that they have that opportunity to stay closer to home and really further those skills.
You're right. If a competitor goes to a 4-year school after North Central, if they come from the state of Missouri and they're in school in Missouri, they're more likely to stay in Missouri, correct?
That is absolutely right. And so I've had some conversations because the University of Missouri has recently kind of revived their program. And so they had the same frustration, is that they are losing students out of state. And unfortunately, then it becomes hard for them to bring them back into the state of Missouri. And so we're excited about it. I think they're excited about the opportunity to let students compete at the junior college level for a couple of years here with us. And then obviously, if we can help to hold those students in Missouri, the chance of them maybe then transferring on to the university there in Columbia obviously is much more likely for them to do so than once they've already left the state.
So what you're talking about is basically the same thing we see in athletics, where you go, you compete, then you move on. So there's got to be a lot of coaching involved. What's that like? How do you teach those kids to do it?
There will be a lot of coaching involved in this, and so luckily most of our students come in with kind of a basic prior knowledge. Like I said, maybe they've competed in 4-H, they maybe have competed in FFA, and so they have some background. We actually have one young lady right now who has showed some interest, who just really has a passion for the livestock industry but maybe hasn't judged. So yeah, it's going to take some time, and so one of the requirements is these students are going to have to complete a livestock live animal evaluation course in order to be eligible to compete on this team. And so part of that training will be done through curriculum in that class, but obviously there will have to be many hours put in outside of that as well.
Sure.
And so we will be spending time traveling to producers of each of those 4 species that we talked about earlier, getting to know what they do in their operations, talking about traits that they look for, what allows them to be successful, traits to maybe avoid, and what they try to keep out of their operation. And so that's a big part of just spending that time looking at live animals and having those discussions as a team or as a class is a big part of the coaching that goes with this. And then the other part is those students will spend several hours committed to coming in and giving what we call oral reasons, or it gives those students a chance to justify why they selected the animals they did or why they placed them, and really allows them to work on that communication side of this to make them better communicators. That way when they go back out into the industry, either as a producer or as an evaluator, they have that ability to explain to others what they're seeing and why they're making the selections they are.
you'll be looking for students to fill this team and take the classes. How does that process work in terms of recruiting?
Yes, recruiting is a very important thing for us right now. And so as we start to look at recruiting, currently I am looking for students who are going to fill this first team beginning in the fall. And those students are probably current freshmen here with us right now, or maybe at another school that we could potentially bring here to compete. And like I said, their season will go starting here in the fall of 2020 through the spring semester. But I'm also looking to start recruiting right now team members for that upcoming year and beyond that. And so I will be going out and visiting with several high school juniors and seniors and traveling to some contests here throughout the spring where they're competing. I'll also be talking then with their high school instructors or maybe their 4-H agents to see what kind of background they have and to make those connections to reach out to the students who are interested in this and who maybe are already competing, who we can just help them build and further their skill set.
How big of a program, how many kids would you ultimately like to have?
We would love to see this grow to where we have somewhere between 15 to 20 kids. What we're allowed to do is each year we can have in the future we can have a freshman team and a sophomore team, and each one of those teams can officially have 5 members on it. But with that, we also look to have some alternates. We know that there will be some students who may compete, but they may graduate in December, and so we need someone to finish that season out. And so we're going to rely on, some extra students or some alternate team members there who will travel with us, or maybe they just have an interest and they want to get out and practice with the team. And we would love to welcome all those students who just have a passion really for the livestock industry and want to make themselves better evaluators.